Okay, welcome entrepreneurs to another amazing session of Joe DeChara Presents. And tonight I am introducing Khara, Croswaite, Brindle. Did I say that right?
Khara. I'll answer both.
Khara, okay. I'm going to do a whole thing about my botching people's names, like a montage. Anyway, so Khara is another new internet friend. She's also an expert speaker at the WEN Summit, and I will be putting the link up here in a second. But anyway, well, I shouldn't be surprised by the lineup of people that Haley Gray has put together, because you are the fourth night in a row that I've gotten to interview other WEN Summit speakers. And, I'm just going to put it out there. So you have an amazing background.
Well, thank you.
And so why don't you, instead of me botching this up anymore, if you want to introduce yourself, and I will put up your links here.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Joe, for having me. So I am a mental health therapist. That's my full-time job. But like many entrepreneurs, I wear many hats. And so on top of doing individual therapy and trauma, I have a group practice of 6 of us doing this work. I'm a professor, an author of several books, and more recently, with the help of WEN and this live broadcast, I've moved more into consulting around mental health and workaholic culture. So helping people move from workaholic to well-balanced is my goal these days, which has been a lot of fun.
Okay. I don't even know where to start. Usually, I know we want to focus on what you're doing at the WEN Summit, what day are you speaking?
So I am on Friday, and I am at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So that would be 9 a.m. Denver time, which is where I am now. So kind of right there at the beginning of the day.
Okay, so the whole world revolves around Eastern Standard Time. So that's
so 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Okay, that's all I want to know.
Yes, sir.
So I could put it into my schedule. Anyway, hello, Brian. So, we do have some guests, and there might actually be some questions because, like I said, luckily we could focus on what you're doing at the WEN Summit, because I could go all over the place with what you do. From the mental health business. I just got a client, a therapist, and she's telling me just about setting up a mental health business.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And, I thought what I do is complicated, but it's it's not easy.
Right.
And then you took it to a whole nother level where you have people under you, correct?
I do. Yep. So there's 5 other rock star therapists doing this work in the metro area.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to put that out there. That's where I would definitely, we're going to have to do this again, and we could explore that whole, how did you build that and do that, because it's not easy. It's hard enough just to be a therapist and be good at what you do, but then to also, the entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur. You don't just get, people under you like that. Would that be accurate?
Well, sure. I think, like you named, it's work, it's effort, and it's definitely wearing the business hat versus the therapist hat we were trained to be.
Right. So, what was I going to say? So, if you're watching live, give me a hashtag live like Brian did. If you're watching the replay, give us a hashtag replay. And if you have any questions for Dr. Khara, you're a doctor, right?
Oh no, I'm just master's level.
Oh man, okay. So I have a lot of doctor clients. I don't know why, but you're like a doctor to me. So what grabbed my attention was it says it right here in the title, Workaholic to Well Balanced. Mm-hmm. Now, I so related to that. so, I mean, it just resonated with me because I thought back where I was like 15 years ago. And so tell us, and I thought you had to be a workaholic if you were an entrepreneur.
Right. I feel like that's the culture. Absolutely.
Well,
that's
and
what we're providing.
Yes. And so the thing is that all the people, I do mastermind groups. I connect with a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of us just get burnt out. Mm-hmm. We just work ourselves till we can't work anymore.
Exactly.
And so how do you approach this? So now I can get my free consult.
All of the tools and tips. Well, and I think, it's important, Joe, to name that I've already been through burnout, and I'm not even that far into my career. So I'm 10 years in as a therapist, and I've already experienced that burnout that you're mentioning, because we have this big workaholic culture that says this is what we do, right? We've got 20-year-olds starting and thinking they have to do 5 side hustles to get, millions of dollars and to make a name for themselves. We have the startup culture, same thing. And so a bunch of us in our 30s and 40s now are feeling that burnout. Maybe it's a medical condition, or maybe it's mental health stuff. And so I, unfortunately, in my own guinea pig, I went through burnout, had to learn the skills that worked for all of us who are really busy. And lo and behold, I needed to find things that worked for busy entrepreneurs, because it wasn't the same as what was already out there.
Excellent. Are you familiar with Simon Sinek at all?
Love him. I would love to meet him someday.
I just saw a post by Richard Branson on LinkedIn. I'm hanging out with Simon Sinek.
Lucky.
I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to hang out with Richard Branson. Yeah. And have him post it. But yeah, he's amazing because he talks about some of this stuff.
He does.
And so where do I start? What question do I want to ask you first? How do you know, like, when you're, do you just wake up and say, oh my God, I'm a workaholic? I mean, I used to say it like it was a badge of honor.
Yes. Yeah. I love that you said that, Joe, because Brene Brown is the other person that we all kind of fangirl over in the mental health community. She was the one to say that we wear this badge of busyness, and that we wear it with that pride that you're mentioning. And so one of the phrases I'm saying a lot lately is, let's remove that badge of busyness. Let's change the culture, the expectation, because we are seeing workaholism as a good thing up until a certain point, or maybe even a certain age, where all of a sudden it's not fun anymore. And so, I think we have just a bunch of young people who are like, oh, workaholic is a good thing. And I didn't really self-subscribe to that until I kept having people assume that I never sleep. I don't know if that's true for you, Joe, but like, people just think, oh, when you have 5 hats that you just don't sleep. And I'm like, nope, I get my 9 hours of sleep every night. I make sure of it.
And that's how you're able to wear so many hats effectively.
Yes. Yeah. You got to take care of yourself.
And they don't teach you that in CPA school. They don't teach us these self-care, mental health. And I remember to like almost a moment when I realized that it wasn't working. Working 80 hours a week, how could I explain it? I always made money. I can't complain about my career, but it was just like there was never enough money and not enough time.
Right.
And I read this book called The Science of Getting Rich. And I don't know why, it just put everything. I said, I don't have to work like this. I'm killing myself. And so, but how do you, this is interesting. I didn't know everybody else wore it like a badge of honor.
Yep. American culture specifically. European, not so much.
What about Japanese? Because I know that they literally work themselves to death sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that one's more of a culture of honor than it is about workaholic culture. I think Americans still work the most hours. There's a book that you might want to check out, Joe, which is called Do Nothing by Celeste Headlee. So that one came out in March, right when COVID hit. And it was really just like a historical view of how did we get to workaholic culture. So she talks about the Industrial Revolution. She talks about electricity, and lo and behold, now we can work into the evening, whereas before we had to work with the sun. So sun up, sun down. And I thought that was really helpful context because she was the one to help find the data that says the Americans still work so much more than they should, that we're not healthy because of it.
What's the name of that book again?
It's called Do Nothing by Celeste Headley.
Okay.
That's interesting. It would resonate with what you've discovered for yourself, Joe.
Yeah, and well, it's important. I discovered it because it's not just me. It's like you went through the burnout, but what I discovered is working more, working harder. It's still not going to get you where you want to get,
Right.
So you don't have, so people get there without killing themselves. So that, the idea is how. Where does it start? Where do you stop being the workaholic and what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think even just as you say that, it's the thought of if someone's on their deathbed, we're not going to hear them say, man, I wish I'd worked more hours. I wish I put in more time. I wish I'd made more money. Usually it's things around relationships. Like I wish I'd spent more time with my spouse or my children or my friends. And so I think for us workaholics that are in recovery, some of this is just saying, what's going to be at the end of the tunnel? Like, are we creating a balanced life where we could have the best of both worlds? We can have, financial means, we can have a work life that we really enjoy, something we find impactful, meaningful, but then have relationships that go along with it. And I think the workaholic culture all of a sudden puts relationships on the back burner. So we've got people getting divorced and not seeing their kids, and it's just not creating a very good future when we look at it that way.
Yeah, I agree. I lived it. I mean, I've seen, that's my story as an accountant. I got to see the inside of people's wealth and their relationships. And I had a client, I tell this story, very wealthy, came from nothing. Just let's say very wealthy, but his children couldn't stand him. And that, I could just see it. But then I had this other client that had no money. Every year they owed the IRS money, but they were happy, But I said, I want happy, but I want the money. But he gave up his family basically to get that money, right?
Right. Sacrifice something. And maybe you'll find this interesting too. Like when COVID started, Yale University put out an online course that was called The Science of Well-Being. And it was looking at the data of happiness. And it was saying things like, okay, people think if they keep making more money, they'll be happier. But it actually ends at a certain rate, which is $70,000. Anything over 70K doesn't make people happier. In fact, sometimes it stresses them out more, which is why we see people, big influencers donating lots of money because they're just like, this is too much. I don't want to handle this, or people are asking for it, or, just different experiences with money. And so to know that 70,000 is kind of the glass ceiling, if you will, or like the limit. Okay, well, maybe that's what people need to work towards. And then once they hit that, they need to like balance it back out once they hit 70K.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, as a CPA, maybe you know more than me, because I was just like, oh, that doesn't seem that bad.
well, 70 grand. Well, 70 grand in New York is a lot different than 70 grand in like, somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. Like
basically
Iowa
anywhere. But I could see, like, is that a number like where your basic, like your rent is paid, like is that like the number?
I think so. I think that's why they got that way of like all your basic needs are covered and you can just live.
And then people are just killing themselves because they think they're going to be happy if they just make another 30 grand.
Right.
And what what happens. They make the 30 grand and it's not enough. Just like what I said. I said, it's just there is no there. I tell my clients that all the time. Like, there is no there. It's the journey. So how do you take people through this? This is what you're going to be talking about on your summit slot, right?
Yes. So the talk is Driven Entrepreneurs from Workaholic to Well-Balanced. and I start introducing some of the skills. So there's 20 skills total in the book, Perfectioner, that I wrote this year. We're going to touch on 4 of them in that talk, and we're going to talk about workaholic culture. We're going to look at people's burnout symptoms. I'm going to have it be really interactive and fun, and hopefully give people a sense of direction of like, ooh, if this is me, what can I do about it? But overall, there's at least 20 things we can do about it. At least.
At least. At
Yes.
least. So another thing that got me, which I thought was funny, was the perfectionist thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to work with perfectionists. They will drive me crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, you actually want to work with perfectionists? What?
I do. Yeah. So right now there's a generation of perfectionists that's coming out because we have an increase in perfectionism from 1980 to now. And part of that is social media. Part of that's comparison. Part of that is just like everyone's business is everybody else's business. And so we have this pressure and perfectionism in these youngest generations coming into the workplace. So I have a bunch of graduate professionals, think pharmacy, doctoral, like pre-med, nursing students who are coming into my office because I'm 10 minutes from the medical school here. They're coming in, they're like, man, I don't have it figured out. I should have it figured out right now. And I'm like, wait a minute. You should? Lots of shoulds. I should have it figured out. I should be able to do it all. I should be great at what I'm doing. I'm like, wait, you're in school to learn this thing. How should you have it figured out? It doesn't make any sense to me. And so they're coming in at 25 years old, having a quarter life crisis because of this. And that's where I start,
Wow.
is they've already hit some sort of rock bottom and they're trying not to fail out of their program.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. So I love them. They're here doing the work, but it's not usually very pretty.
No, because in my mastermind meetings, this comes up all the time where people, as entrepreneurs, we want our website perfect. And it holds us back all the time. A lot of times it comes up in the groups, mm-hmm. and we just say, listen, just put it out there.
Right.
It'll never.
First draft.
People that write books, I'm writing a book. I'm like, oh my God, I can keep going through it, and every time I'll change something. Mm-hmm. So you talk people through that or?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we start with the nitty gritty. So like for a lot of these folks, they want to know, how did they get to this place? What is it about their personality? What was it about their home life, right? So they're doing some deeper diving into like their background. What motivates them? And so something that maybe resonates with you too, Joe, is that most of us who identify as workaholics or type A or control freaks or Enneagram 3s, if you're familiar with the Enneagram, all of us will say, I'm only as good as what I do. So that's our core belief. I'm only as good as what I do. And if that's how I see myself, I'm sure as heck going to work hard to do all the things I can, because that's the only way I see myself as worthwhile. So these folks are coming in and not knowing that that is their backbone. That's where it all starts. So we uncover that. There's usually some visceral reactions, some tears. And then we say, all right, what are you going to do with this information? How do you go off and running with it? Because now they know why they do what they do.
Right. I get it. And another thing that comes up is the self-talk. Mm-hmm. The self-talk. Oh, this isn't going to work. I have a coaching client. She's like, I did this before and nobody showed up. What if that happens again? I said, then you're 0 for 2. you got 2 strikes and now you go for 3. I mean,
yeah. And she's over there probably going, oh my gosh, I'm horrible. I'm not worthwhile. I'm unlovable. I'm a failure. All because of that, people not showing up. So they spiral, right? They go down into this deep, dark hole of, oh, I'm just not a good enough person without these things. So the workaholics, you tell them to stop working and they might have a mental health crisis. So we have to find a way to balance it out, not just take it away.
Yeah. And I see people, I have clients right now that are literally, they're sick because of COVID. They were in the health related field and they basically got sucked into the whole, it was like they were treating people and weren't getting their own treatment.
Right. Yep. Sacrificing their own needs for others. And that's that helper part of us, right? If I have to help other people. And so I'm sure all of the clients you work with have little dashes of this because we're human and we want to connect with people. And so sometimes we're people pleasers in its worst form.
Oh, that was me. You want to help we want to save the world.
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And then, my girlfriend pointed out, she's like, you want to save the world, you can't even take care of yourself.
Yep. And none of us want to be reminded of that, right?
I was like, wait a second. I hate when you're right.
Yep.
But that's the truth.
Right.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to come to one of my mastermind meetings and do a little thing on this, because
I would love to.
we are, and I don't care what level you're at. These are like just fundamental. I'll tell you how I start my show usually. The book A Road Less Traveled?
Mm-hmm.
The first paragraph in there, he says something like, life is tough, get over it. Once you accept that it's tough, you can start enjoying life. And that was another one of those things. I was like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Right.
And it's tough. And then we go into business and we make it even tougher.
Right.
So yeah, you're gonna have to explain all of this to us again, why we keep
Just
doing
normalize
this.
it. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's been the fun part of this, Joe, is like, as now that I've embraced my own edges, as being a workaholic, as being through burnout, like I feel like there's so many people coming out of the woodwork saying, oh my gosh, I relate to that. I'm that person too. And no one was talking about this because for a while there, perfectionism was all bad, right? It was, oh, perfectionism and entrepreneurs don't go well together. And I choose to believe that there's something positive in all of this, because some of the best innovators were perfectionists. And like Steve Jobs, right? Like he's our perfect example of like innovator, but kind of hard to work with until he worked on himself a little bit. And lo and behold, he made, magical things happen.
Oh yeah. He had a lot of failures too.
Yep.
A lot of massive failures.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to give some people an idea of this is your website, correct?
Yes, this is all of the things I do.
Okay, I don't want to show somebody else's website and say that it's yours. But what did you have here? Okay, suicide assessment. You do a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah, I don't like to be bored.
obviously, and now you're also, I have a lot of friends that are speakers. This is your speaker thing? Oh no! Mm-hmm. So you have a really nice speaker sheet. So if anybody's out there and they're looking for a top-notch speaker, because I could find them, okay, and she is one of them, because you have all your media stuff up here. You're well prepared.
Thank you.
It looks like it's perfect to me, but I don't know.
Oh gosh, we don't strive for perfect, right? That's like dangerous.
Okay, so yeah, you got your headshots. So if you're looking for a speaker, and I know I have a lot of friends that are professional speakers, so that's not an easy thing to do either. And now you wrote a book. I want to. Where do we find it? Is it on the site? So it's
actually, it's Perfectioner right there in the middle when you have your list.
Okay, that's where I found it. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the book. This is the book that is where our when talk is coming from. It's all about that workaholic culture and moving to well-balanced. So got a couple different things here on the site. It's on Amazon. Just launched a Spanish version of it this week. So that's exciting. Really?
Okay,
and
cool.
People are resonating with it, kind of like you, Joe. They're reading it. It's a very short, easy read, and it's got lots of tangible ideas, 20 concepts there for people.
Awesome. I just posted the link up there.
Awesome.
I should have had an affiliate link.
Right, you're helping me out here.
Yeah. But this is awesome. I'm really looking forward to what day are you speaking again?
So Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, this Friday.
Friday, 11 a.m. Yes, I am free. I think I pretty much cleared my whole schedule. And I just want to...
Yeah.
Now I'm meeting everybody that's speaking, and I said, I got to be there. But now I should know this, okay, you can get, there's going to be videos. Mm-hmm. I guess, but you need the VIP package.
Right. For people who are signing up. Mm-hmm. Right. I think it's different for us as speakers. Hopefully we're getting access to some things, but we'll definitely get our own talks after the recording, which is helpful.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I think I posted it there. Anyway, that's how you sign up. And let me get rid of the sharing. And there we are. So this has been great. You know, you're the kind of guest I can go on and on. We can cover a lot of different topics. And I hope that you'll come back again.
Absolutely. This has been fun, Joe.
Yeah, and really looking forward to Friday at 11. I'm going to buy your book.
Nice. Thank you.
And I hope other people will. This has been great. And I'm glad that you're out there because we need people like you. Actually, I want to connect you with one of my clients, Tatiana. Because I emailed her. I said, you have to meet Khara. And I'm saying this on the recording on purpose because I am going to send you, I think, a bunch of people. Sometimes you better be careful what you ask for.
I appreciate it. Okay. I will do what I can for everybody.
Okay. All right. That's our story. Over and out. God bless. Thanks for visiting. And I will see you tomorrow. And visit us on starting Thursday, One Summit. Thank you.